Hey, Andy. What are you doing?
Well, I'm moving the chickens to a fresh spot.
Hey, Zev.
Hey,
what are you doing?
I'm skinning some taro root for dinner. These are from Leon and Jeannie up the path, but I did grow some this year. It's a plant that people eat in tropical places a whole lot, but it is one of my new favorites.
I only want to do some Baileys too to add in.
It's a beautiful Wednesday morning garden session over here at the Gateway neighborhood.
It's okay, we can eat it when it grows.
What's this?
Chicken. Put it in the smoothie.
There are so many pollinators out here. Honeybees, and I see 3 different kinds of butterflies. Like, why have a lawn when you can have this?
This whole site had a big permaculture design at the beginning. The whole thing's part of really wanting this as a living laboratory and a lot of experimentation. So here we are, we're coming up on our village center. This is our village green up ahead of us. So it was originally a lumber yard when we were building, but now we have, you can see all the soccer balls and our maypole, and yeah, it gets a lot of use here. And now we're coming upon our council hall. So this is a round pole timber frame building. So the posts were all from trees from right around here, mostly tulip poplars. So it has 13 sides. It has kind of this core. And then you can see these wings are a weight-bearing straw bale construction. And then this front part is, I think, just cob.
And you see something growing on the roof up there.
Yeah, we were experimenting with natural roof over in that side, and then we did eventually put metal on the very top, and that's been good.
Interesting. So a lot of experimenting.
Oh yeah, the whole thing's an experiment. So then we have this pavilion, which we use for potlucks and on our coffee and trade on Tuesday, and it's like a little farmer market.
And a couple shipping containers.
So that was a gift from a former member who had this vision of really wanting the community to have a kitchen, but we aren't ready yet to like build our rural community center. So like our mail trailer is a little trailer, and first aid, and bulletin board and crutch storage.
Here to here. It's not one.
It's all a work in progress.
Oh my goodness, it's the barn basketball team.
For others to see even how to live in community, and
People come here because they want to be part of that experiment.
Shoot, man, shoot. There you go. Wow.
this is just so big.
Yeah, we're 329 acres, and you can see with this topology how there isn't like room to just put everybody together. So when there are little valleys and things, then we have neighborhoods of like 3 to 6 sites or families. The first people who developed on the site built this little hut to live in. So these are all over the place. And then once people get set there, then they build something else. So this forest, it looks like a lot of forest now, but this forest is highly degraded. It had all been clear cut probably in the 20s or so. So then this now is like another neighborhood. This is the Hobbit house. Each of the neighborhoods is a little different. Okay, so we're coming up here on Village Terraces, which is a housing co-op. So that's the neighborhood I live in. And it's a co-housing model. We've got a little farm down here, which some neighbors are farming for us now, right now.
Nice.
And so having different sets of people doing things different ways lets us experiment with more things at a time. So we're kind of named after having all these terraces for our garden.
What's the name of the neighborhood?
Village Terraces. Okay, so the building that's on the right here, I actually live upstairs. My husband and I live upstairs with our 2 cats. So it's stick framed, but using all wood from the land.
So is it a kind of duplex or?
Yeah, we live upstairs and another couple lives downstairs. Ooh, a bunny eating my, eating raspberries. Hey, go away. The overall neighborhood is a housing co-op.
It's just a really big building. I mean, but it feels like an apartment building. Like it feels like your standard apartment building.
Well, it's big for here. So it's built on a 12 by 12 frame. So there's 2 deep and 3 high.
You have outdoor showers?
Yeah, we have an outdoor shower. That way we can use less propane in the summer. Yeah, solar clothes dryer. Let me see if anybody's in here. So this is our common kitchen. So most of the units have their own kitchen, but a few don't, and that lets us give a range of affordability on the units. So we all share that washing machine, right?
Oh, okay.
And so not everybody doesn't have to have their own washing machine. Everybody doesn't have to have their own one thing or another.
So when did you get here? What year?
2007.
And did you have a more conventional setup before, or?
Yeah, we were total middle class software engineer working for a Hewlett Packard kind of family. Here you can see there's some pictures about how it was built there. The people here started up in another neighborhood. So it's built on a 12 by 12 frame, and it's a square timber frame, square wood. There's kind of this evolution in natural building, right? So it started with the round pole timber frame because the trees were so small at this point. They wanted to like use as much of the cross section because if you like squared those off, they weren't big enough to do much with. And then, well, that's a lot of fussy work to try and build around that. So then, you square those up and then you can, timber frame them up.
So how many units or the equivalent of a unit here?
So it's kind of hard to calculate because part of it is that it's really flexible. So on the bottom is the common kitchen.
Okay.
Above that is a common bathroom plus apartments. And they aren't all the same size. And there's 3 bathtubs. There's 1 flushing toilet, so that makes this legal.
What do you need to be legal?
Well, okay, there's different ways of being legal. Our co-op, the insurance company wants them to have a certificate of occupancy. And so for that, you have to have a septic system, have a bathroom, have temperature control of your heating system so it doesn't burst valves and stuff. So it's things like that as well as like following electrical codes and stuff. There's what, maybe on the order of 8 units. And so you can imagine if everyone had their own little wood stove, it'd be all smoky everywhere. So we're able to have one system that provides the heat for both buildings. And it happens to be running now because it also provides domestic hot water for this building, but we're in the process of getting a solar system for that. So yeah, we do a lot of work processing firewood and do that all together, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, before we had that, we had this, which is a big wood stove in the basement. And it had like this 3,000-gallon water tank here, but we can't use that anymore now. It sprung a leak, so then we couldn't use any of it. So we have the 2 inverters, one of these for each big set of solar panels. And then these are controls like in the winter for the hot water, figuring out what's the temperatures of the different things, and then we can program them so then turn it on or not. So over here, and these are the pumps that go to the different parts of the building. There's a set of relays so that if those thermostats are asking for hot water, it'll turn on its pump. And then in here is just a big hot water heater. It can either get hot water that's coming from the big stove, or if we're producing any electricity, it can use that to heat this. That's one of the more complicated ways to set it up, but it's all an experiment. And all that solar is for electricity, and all the electricity is for the whole neighborhood. And here, the panels on the left are solar hot water for that building.
Okay.
Oh, and then we have like this big pasture.
Oh, you have some cows.
It's a bull and a cow. All the farmers kind of cooperate with all the fields because we don't have any particular field that's like big enough for any particular thing. So the goal of the animals is to improve the soil. So we're really trying to grow soil here. And so the animals going through and eating the things and pooping the things, and that's what builds soil. And that's the main goal. And some of us eat them and eat the milk, whatever, but it's really all about building soil because there's no soil here.
We are mulching
We are-
cover crop, and we're spreading it out so no weeds will grow through. This is massaging the soil and all of the organisms in it.
It was all clay when you started farming here?
Yes, this was clay soil. Totally clay. Now, this has not been grazed or had any manure put on it. This is all from this kind of method of growing, of cover crop, letting it grow up really long.
20 years of farming.
I'm still digging. I want to take you down to what it was. Called the microheart.
The microherd.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, this is all animals because animals are mostly bacteria and they're just little vessels to hold and hold the bacteria and all the microorganisms.
So big picture, Diana Leaf Christian lives here and she's one of the experts on intentional communities. She says, you can't just fill out the form and check eco-village and have it all work. Any intentional community is going to have multiple legal entities to do the things. We have a homeowners association which owns basically all the common areas and it's responsible for the roads and bridges and the trees. Each of the neighborhoods is a little different, right? And so we're a housing co-op on a co-housing sort of model. There's other co-ops that are maybe like little huts or single family homes. You have to have 5 members to have a co-op in North Carolina at least, right?
This is the home that my husband and I live in and that we share with our friends.
And are both of these duplexes, is this area is a couple duplexes?
Nope. Basically, the neighborhood was designed to be a smattering of houses that meet different sizes of families, from an individual to couples, or maybe a single parent with a child, or a family with multiple children. Come on!
And so what brought you out here?
I was in my late 20s and I was really wanting to with my hands more. And I didn't really want to spend a lot of money, but I didn't need to make all the money.
Roll it downstream a little bit.
I searched online and it brought me here and I did a 3-month work exchange. And I thought I was going to be so self-sufficient after 3 months.
Okay.
And that's not how it went because I learned that you can't learn everything there is to like build your whole life in 3 months. Duh.
Oh, it's Nikki Ann in her natural habitat.
I have been collecting seed from all over the village for 2 years now of everyone's different colors of columbine and scattering them here so it can be this rainbow.
But what I did learn was like what's possible. Like there was this whole world that was living outside of my awareness. What are y'all doing?
Pruning.
This is part of the living fence around this field with the living trees acting as fence posts.
Permaculture, off-grid living, fermentation, regenerative agriculture, unschooling.
Here we are in the candle factory.
So I'm pouring this wax back and forth in order to cool it off so that it gets cool enough that the sand will not stick to it.
It was kind of this big buffet of all kinds of ways of living that have been around for a long time. I mean, as long as all of our ancestors have been here. Hey. And under all kinds of different names and different forms. So really the lid was blown off for me of like what could be a life that I wanted to live. the home that my husband and I live in. My husband was the main builder, and there was a whole crew of us to different degrees from the village, friends.
It's a like apartment almost. What do you call this?
It's considered a duplex by floor. So a lot of duplexes in the United States are built side by side with an interior staircase, and we wanted to maximize the interior square footage by putting an exterior staircase. It allows for lots of different mobilities and family sizes and stages of life to be shared in one building. This building is 3 stories. So from the basement is bermed in, and so it's a walkout basement on the south side, and then it's bermed into the hillside on the north. And so where you're on the north side, it's 2 stories. And so that's how this middle floor is on ground level from the north, and it's in the middle of the building looking from the south. And the basement was what we call a bonus basement. It's a place where we can host big gatherings. So while the community is still developing, some of the neighborhoods are investing their own resources to meet the needs of the village. And I think the fact that it's so rural and the off-grid aspects lend itself to slower development. Yeah.
Wow, it's actually a very conventional looking house.
And that's by design, intentional.
So you wanted it to feel like any home in America.
Yeah, you're picking up on it, yep.
Your kitchen is just conventional. I mean, I relate to it. It's not a earth home or a cob.
I would say that most of the people in the village don't strongly use the term natural building. I think the question one could ask is what's natural and what's not natural. I think it can be misleading when it's excluding materials that are natural, like wood, that are a part of a lot of conventional building. So this house is, yeah, pretty standard.
It's interesting because I don't think this house is obviously off-grid. I see so many appliances and they look like a big refrigerator. And so how are you doing this?
So we have solar panels on our roof. It's enough power to supply 2 residences and a communal space. We also have a hybrid electrical car. We are trying to use a lot of electrical appliances. So on a day like this where it's really sunny and our batteries are full, we're dumping power. So we have a lot of diversion loads. So electric toaster oven, hot plate, tea kettle. We're drawing, we're using power. Okay. Downstairs in the utility room, I'm also distilling some water today because we use distilled water to feed our batteries. But it's kind of this fun game of like, wow, we can utilize this much excess power, and it's things we would do anyway. This is our office and spare bedroom, and this is our bedroom. And this bathroom is different from upstairs because we wanted to have the availability to have a wheelchair in here or a walker if someone ever came in with that need. So yeah, 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
So how many people on these?
This floor is a couple, 2 of us.
And then upstairs
is a couple with a teenager. Oh, okay. It's a little under 1,000 square feet. One of the things that happens in community is people envision living together in close proximity, and there's often cohousing experimentation. And so sometimes houses are designed with multiple family units in mind, which is awesome. Good morning. Good morning. And so many well-intended relationships shake out to be not good fits in the end. And we've heard about and experienced so many heartbreak stories that we were being cautious and thinking that maybe we'd find those perfect people and it all goes hunky-dory forever, and maybe not. And if it doesn't, how do we offer ourselves some security or safety or padding for ease? When we built this house, our way of doing that was to put in this interior spiral staircase that allows us to have a hominess with our people who live in a different flat and not have to go outside. You can still be in your socks or, your comfy clothes, and it's reachable, but without going out into the elements. So this is our way to connect while also really preserving autonomy and privacy and easy connection when people aren't feeling it. So down here, we've got kind of the utility room. One household has their own freezer and the other household has their other freezer. I mean, there's some berries. There's a lot of food preservation that happens in the village. We've got 2 different water heaters. One is a water heater that heats the water from the excess power that we generate electrically, and the other is a heat pump water heater that transfers the moisture and heat in the air into the water, which leaves us with drier, cooler air in the space. So the thing that we struggle with in the Southeast, particularly in the summer, is warmth and moisture together, which is the conditions for mold. So when you have something that's drying and cooling a space, that's just net positive all day long. This is what we call a bonus basement. It's a privately owned space that was built to be shared and used by many people. So there's yoga that happens here on Tuesdays. There's meetings that happen multiple times a week.
Because this could also be an apartment.
Exactly. So
it's a kitchen.
Yeah. So back to the design of the neighborhood. In North Carolina, you can be a housing co-op and you need 5 forming members. But our neighborhood doesn't have 5 forming members yet. So in the meantime, we're an LLC. And that's why we built 2 residences here, is to allow for 5 occupancy agreements of a housing co-op. So there's a little bit of build it and they will come.
What's the economic range? What sort of...
Like what do people pay to buy or build or just kind of join or whatever that word is?
It's a really hard question to answer. I mean, I guess the most standard answer is it depends. And it depends on what you're wanting and what's available and your life choices. There are some nominal costs to having access to living on the land, to cover administration and the basic utilities, and probably feeds into an operating budget for most HOAs in general. And then there's the cost of rent. And then if someone wanted to get onto the membership track, then it sets into motion some other asks of responsibility taking and service.
What are y'all doing?
We're hooking his solar panels up.
Is that gonna power your whole house?
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is a lot of solar.
Whole house, and it can power another house.
As far as the cost of homes, that's all over the map. Someone might buy into an already built house and it's shared and it's very basic. It might need a lot of repairs, or someone might buy in or build something that's of today's rates.
So how many neighborhoods?
It depends on how you count it, somewhere in about a dozen.
And each neighborhood has a different feel.
Yeah, so this one we're going here is one of the more remote ones. This is Jeff and Sue's Earthship. He and Sue built this themselves. And Sue's quite a gardener. Jeff has really expanded this Earthship tire technology, and Sue's planted all these herbs and things in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's buried right in the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the housing is on hills or slopes because we wanted to save the flat land for agriculture. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, I'm Kirsten. Nice to meet you.
I'd love to hear a bit about how you came out here.
Well, we were kind of on an odyssey, checking out communities, figuring living in communities, a better way of living and cheaper and all that stuff. So we visited many communities around the country, and this was one of them, and it stuck. And that was about 20 years ago.
And you decided to build an Earthship.
We did. That is me standing in the doorway. We did a lot of shovel work.
Where'd you get the tires?
Local tire dealers, yeah, they're used tires, so they're glad for me to take them. It was just mostly my wife and I.
So did it make sense cost-wise?
If you've got More energy than money, it makes sense. It was my retirement project, so yeah, I had time. Most of the walls are tire walls, but the front wall is standard stick frame.
And the floor, is the floor earthen or is it a concrete?
The floor is undisturbed earth, a layer of peat stone, an insulating vapor barrier, a layer of insulation, and then 3.5 inches of concrete. And it's really solid concrete. The pattern is just etched in 1/4 inch deep.
How long did it take?
And it took about 3 years to be able to move in.
We're buried into the mountain.
Yeah. That's about the level of the earth.
Oh, right there. You see the...
Top 12 inches, that's solid concrete.
That is. So we're really underground here.
Yes, on this end.
On this end, yeah.
That end, no.
So when it gets very hot and humid outside, how does the building perform?
Okay, so we're off the grid, so we opt for maximum ventilation. A window that opens to catch the westerly winds, the operable skylights, doors on the west end to catch the prevailing winds, and louvered doors so we don't trap moisture behind. Mold is an issue, but we have to just keep at it.
The fact that you are a little bit below the surface, that's probably going to help you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about 10 degrees cooler in the summer than outside, and the reverse in the winter, without any external heat, just solar. It's a very tight house. Being earth berm, there's no windows on the north side. It's facing south, so we get a lot of solar gain. The roof is metal and it slopes a little bit to the south, and then we catch the rainwater. And I have a gutter on the front, and it leads into the cistern here. And you can see the solar panels up there.
So you're completely off grid?
Yes, except for the phone. And we have internet connection. There's an antenna up in this tree. It's pointing to a cell tower. So this is south facing, so all the windows are on the south side.
And there's lots. It's very long and thin, right?
Yes, that's a basic solar design, rectangular with a large surface facing south. And above you is grapes, so that's our living awning.
And a garden.
And a garden.
Do you grow food?
As much as we can. We have a flush toilet inside, and that's a septic tank right there, and a leach field over here. So it's code compliant.
So you put in all of this is tire.
Yeah, the tires right here.
Oh, you see there, shape of it.
Yep. And you can see the shape of the tires right there.
Oh, yeah. And this is all rainwater capture here.
Yes. So these are storage areas behind.
Ah, like into the earth almost. So, right, that's the earthen wall over there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
A bathroom, a flush toilet, okay. Wash machine.
And standard bathroom, standard plumbing, everything. Standard. Okay. Okay.
Skylight, the one that's most neat.
Oh yeah, oh, it's nice. Look at all that light, all that glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
But the tire wall continues all the way around and out there, and I have another cistern behind that wall.
Oh, and you have an instrument.
It's a hammered dulcimer.
Do you feel a part of a community here or a part of a neighborhood?
Well, we're part of a neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a housing co-op, and the co-op is a member of the homeowners association.
And are the dues like a couple $100 a month?
It's about $900 a year, I believe.
Oh, not bad. So is this neighborhood, there's no other Earthship?
This is the only Earthship at Earthaven, yeah.
So is there a consistency of building in each neighborhood? What makes a neighborhood?
This whole site had a big permaculture design at the beginning that some of the founders were the leading permaculture designers of the time in the Southeast. And so when they laid it out, they identified places like, okay, we could have a few here and then over there and up there, and then they all have a little different character. So up here we're pretty high and dry. comparatively,
Okay.
where other ones are going to be more in the valley and kind of where mold is more of an issue.
Okay.
For example, there's one that's a little flatter. But Jeff planted all this orchard down here.
And then from here, there's nothing for the next half a mile, or what was that we just drove? There's more, you just don't see it.
No, there's quite a bit along here. But you can see up here this white.
Oh, I see.
And that's like a complex with like 3 big buildings.
I think what surprises me the most about this is just how large this is.
It's a big project.
Yeah, you're almost developers without that dirty word, but you know, you are. You're
Yeah.
conscientiously developing the land, right? By putting
Yeah,
humans on.
and collectively, right? The founders had a whole set of criteria for the land, and that included how much water they wanted, and you know, we have a lot of water. We're totally off-grid for electricity, and so one of our founders pretty early on said, let's do a micro-hydro system for some of our power, and built this system back when that was kind of a new thing to do. So this is the intake that kind of looks like a dam. So it's taking in the water on the face of that thing with the fins.
Okay.
Right, so it builds a little pool, takes in the water into a pipe that goes underground. So you can see it's not really like having that much impact on the amount of water it takes out. It's just a pretty small area. So there's a pipe that's going to go underground into a settling tank in case it picked up any silt or anything on the way.
Okay.
So it both settles a little bit and then the water goes down, and I'll show you, we'll go back and you'll then see there's a pair of kind of 6-inch diameter black pipes, and that's the water that's coming from up here.
So that works.
Generally, unless a crawdad's got clogged in it or something.
It's not a huge creek. I mean,
No,
but
it's
you're
not
able to
big.
get power. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's the micro part of it all.
Yeah, it's designed for a small, you know, it's not a big dam. And it's not that much power, but it's really nice. You know, if you're there, you can see them right there.
Oh yeah, the pipe's right there. Okay. And so you all laid that pipe.
Community members before I got here did that.
There's some drop here.
Well, that is kind of why there's more, because it's taking advantage of the gravity. So that's why the intake is way up the hill. And then the outtake will be down here at the bottom of the hill.
Okay. Now.
So see the pipes come in here. They're going to get split. Well, each one goes to one, but then it gets split and they get smaller and smaller and smaller to build up the pressure in the pipe. And then each one goes to one of these turbines, right? And they're doing the water like this. So they're hitting both directions. And those things spinning is what generates the electricity. So there's 2 of them. You get twice the push on it, yeah.
So it comes in here, the pipes are bigger.
And then so it's all about building up the pressure to get the velocity to spin those faster.
And this just runs at this point.
Yeah. So then you might have noticed the water is now coming out here. And if you look at the creek before and after those pipes, you can see how little impact it's had on the creek. So now looking a little more at the system. So we saw the micro hydro part of it. There's a big solar panel array back here that's part of this system. And then all the electronics are kind of in here. So we have the 2 inverters because we're going 2 legs. I think it's a 48 volt system. Yeah, we power a shop and we have the village center, and some of the neighborhoods also get a little power from this. So that's the brains of the operation. So in addition to that, so then the batteries are in here. And right now we're using these fairly new lithium batteries. Before, the batteries just took up this whole thing. And then Yeah, we do have a propane-powered generator as backup. So one of the things that's different for different neighborhoods is how they do their power systems. So our neighborhood, we're a co-housing community. We have 2 buildings, so we share all of our utilities with those 2 buildings.
I think there is a distance to travel for someone coming from a traditional house ownership situation in a city or in a town, and it's a single deed, fee simple situation. They own the property. And they're looking to be more communal, but they're still using that model that they came from. And so they think, well, oh, I could come to Earthaven. And some of the main first questions that some people ask is, where can I buy? Where can I build? What's available? Fine questions.
Here we are moving this hickory tree that just got felled in the butterfly house driveway.
And there's a whole experience and value and orientation to the village that comes before that, which is around the project that is bigger than any of us. That vision, that thing that's greater than its sum.
Homegrown corn with ashes made from hardwood from the wood that we all process from here. And homegrown lard and homegrown stock and
Grow lard?
homegrown friends.
And we could describe it many different ways. I mean, call it a developing eco-village, call it a 7-generational plan of how to have humans live in a place intimately and in right relationship. And so this project that is called Earthaven, this experimental developing eco-village, is a volunteer project.
And a bunch of chicks, broiler chicks, and some wranglers, so that these chicks are protected from the hawks.
Some come knowing that and really are ready to throw down and say, where are my gifts and services and life energy, you know, welcome to be of service and given.
Yeah.
And others maybe get that a little later and they're like, this is just too much. And some others get it and go, yes, oh, I get it more now, please. Like, how do we do this together in a way that works for all of us?
The sheep have moved in, and the vision is that they're gonna help us mow it down.
That synergy of really studying or understanding what's going on here and then what's come before.
Yeah, so we're just gonna pick these up like this and put them just like that.
Yeah.
Coupled with someone's passion and desire and availability to give to that thing that's bigger than ourselves is that sweet spot, is that synergistic marriage of what's possible here.
Okay, now we're gonna just pull this tight.